So, what else do you want to talk about today on this wonderful Christmas day?
Well, speaking of Christmas, I mean, if you want to shop for your loved ones,
and if you want to shop like a billionaire,
then may I recommend the latest Chinese weapon to destroy America, Temu.
Because TikTok worked so well.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
Like, who knew? Like, tracing the evolution of weapons. First, man has a stone, then a spear, swords, of bronze, of iron, guns, TikTok.
I think there's somewhere between guns and TikTok, there's probably like nuclear weapons. Right?
Yeah, nuclear weapons. Super gluing your friends to chairs and dropping honey on them so bears would eat them. And then the pinnacle, TikTok, which you can film your friend being eaten by bears on TikTok.
And you'll get millions of views.
Yes. But now Temu. What's interesting about Temu is that a year ago, nobody had heard of Temu in the United States. Like,
yeah.
I think they had set up shop. It's by the Shanghai-based company Pinduoduo, but it's like technically an American company. But like nobody had heard of them. And then in February this year, they ran that Super Bowl ad, right? And like suddenly it became really well known. But it's not just the $1 million Super Bowl ad. It's also that they this incredible marketing blitz, right? So like any site you go to, as you click on Temu once and they would like track you forever. They also worked with a lot of YouTubers and TikTok influencers to have them like promote shopping on TikTok.
Yeah, Temu.
Yeah, you're right, Temu. Actually, did you know in the original ad they called it Temu?
Really?
Yeah, I went back and watched it yesterday, and I was like, Temu? Everyone
Really?
calls it Temu. Yeah. Huh. But anyway, it's Temu. But the point is that, like, I think it's important to relate why, like, what happens when you buy Christmas stuff on Temu.
Well, and also, just for clarity, like, the reason they're advertising everywhere is because this is the Chinese state pumping money into this company to spread this message everywhere.
Right.
My prediction for the future, the internet will be divided into solely Temu ads and ads for Shenyun 5,000 years of Chinese culture. That will be the entirety of the internet.
You like drive down the freeway and there's like the Shenyun billboard and the Temu billboard.
No, that's old fashioned. The ads will be beamed directly into your brain.
Excellent.
I did not see that joke
this is my prediction.
Oh man.
So
China before communism, China after communism.
Which way, Western man?
Oh wow. So like the state subsidies are a really important thing to look at, because like if you can buy like, you know, a suit and tie on Temu for like $11.99, like
I can?
Like you know something's wrong. Okay? And what Temu thank you. What Temu does is, so the Chinese government subsidizes it. They also take advantage of, there's this law, like this customs law where imports below a certain threshold, which I think is $800 or something, they skip the customs process. And so Temu takes advantage of that. They also take advantage of this heavily subsidized postal rates that we give China. And they're also really low quality products. And many of the companies that are manufacturing to sell on Temu employ slave labor, like from the Uyghurs, and they intentionally don't do any kind of monitoring of that. I mean, granted, Nike and other companies also.
Well, hold on. We're not allowed to talk about what they're doing to the Uyghurs because we need their cooperation on fentanyl. So just please, let's
you're right. Right.
We'll cut that out.
We'll cut that out.
Okay, keep going.
Oh, so these are all the things that are really, really wrong with buying stuff on Temu. Like you're supporting slave labor, you're undercutting American businesses. You're essentially supporting a Chinese propaganda effort. And also, like, the stuff you get it sucks. Like, the quality really sucks.
I think also it's, there's the data side, right? Where you have to download this app, it's tracking all this stuff about you. And they're using all this data for, not just for business reasons.
They are selling it. And there were some data privacy issues that came up earlier this year as well.
And I think it's pretty interesting when I get Temu ads, like that they try to disguise the fact that they're Temu ads. Have you noticed this? Like, because I've been doing Christmas shopping, right? and I will see Temu ads, and they'll just be kind of like in that ad space. It'll just be like a different array of like intriguing looking products, but without any branding on it to tell that it's like Temu, right? And they're just trying to attract people by being like, "Oh, this looks like a weird thing. I wonder what this is."
Let me click.
Yes.
I got you.
Yeah. And I mean, they're obviously coming from Amazon, which is not my favorite company by any means.
Right.
But the only way that I can think of Amazon or Walmart or whatever being worse is if it's now a Chinese company that's being subsidized by the CCP.
Well, so this is a big part of it too. Like China wants to actually drive out American competitors. Like I never thought I'd be like sad for Walmart, but and that's kind of another case. Like they do business with China and then they're betrayed. They stab you in the back.
It's the American superconductor story all over again.
Way to bring it back, Shelley.
So should we tar and feather them?
But who? The enemies are in the gate. You don't even know who to tar and feather.
But can you buy tar and feathers on Temu?
Oh my gosh, they've controlled all sides. Be your opposition. Controlled opposition. Oh my gosh. They've taken Americans' greatest weapons and tools.
Tarring and feathering is America's greatest. So we forgot to put that on like the weapons chart.
Weapon.
So what do you guys think is going to happen in 2024 with respect to China?
I already gave my prediction. Just Shunyun or Temu ads. 5,000 years of Chinese culture before communism. 5,000 years of Chinese culture after communism. I hope the CCP isn't around for 5,000 years. I don't have that many episodes in me.
It's just like a Chris robot.
Oh no, floating head, like Futurama style.
Oh, there you go.
Still doing this. Even death is no release.
Oh boy. I'm actually optimistic for 2024. And that's because I think that there's a larger trend, which is a shifting consciousness, a consciousness around like, there's pretty horrible things that are happening in China because of the CCP. And, it's actually better for, buying products made in the USA. Look, China actually is like way more aggressive than we thought. Actually, we're losing money investing in China. And I think that consciousness is growing. And I think that's positive. I'd like to see it be a sort of spiritual awakening versus just an economic awakening. And by spiritual, I mean not religious, but I mean like the realization that it is
like a moral awakening.
It's a moral like it is wrong to put ethnic people in slave labor camps so they can make cheap products for us, and it's wrong to buy those things, right? And like the opposite of that isn't saying it's good. The opposite of that is just ignoring it. And so if we can move from sort of willful ignorance to a kind of moral consciousness around it. And I am optimistic about that. And, the great thing about being optimistic is, it feels good to be optimistic. And even if you're wrong, like you would have been, would you rather be pessimistic and be right? I don't know. Not me.
I like my coffee black. I like pessimism. I don't like being disappointed. I just like this.
I was thinking about, I think that it's not that people don't have that like moral sense that it is wrong to use ethnic slave labor, but I think like there are so many barriers to being able to make an ethical choice for most people.
Yeah, I mean, like all the cobalt in our little smartphones.
Yeah,
thank you.
So it's not just
children
like,
in the Congo.
So it's not just like, you can take that extra step and try to buy stuff that's not made in China, which, I think we all do try to take that step. But then there's some things where it's like, it's impossible to find this thing not made in China. Or,
the actual systems, the spirit of this society is geared at chewing up human life.
Right. And you're right. It's kind of like, how do you deal with a world in which there is Chinese stuff like in part of the supply chain for almost everything. Like
and then like people feel helpless. I think that's the part where like it feels so bad to see this all the time that you have to kind of just ignore it for your own like mental health, right?
Yeah.
Like you live in this world where a bunch of bad things happen all the time and you cannot be thinking about those things all the time.
Right. That's true. And then also just the difficulty of finding things not made in China. I mean, what I do for me is like I draw the line only at China. Like I don't love the like cheap labor in, Vietnam or other developing countries where workers are treated badly. But like at a certain point, it becomes some products are impossible to get made in America. But if you can at least draw the line at China for starters, and there needs to be a bigger line, a bigger policy shift, right? So there needs to be some kind of U.S. government action that gets corporations to stop making stuff in China and stop buying components from China. And only that way can you really have everything made outside of China again.
Or there needs to be some kind of complete economic collapse in China, which is, I don't think that's the way it's going to go. Or we need to be at war with China. It is very hard to stop the like made in China cycle without there being some like very large shock to the system.
Americans do tend to respond to extreme things like tar and feathering.
Or the spy balloon.
Spy balloon? Pearl Harbor is a big example. So that doesn't sound optimistic. And now I'm in my comfort zone.
Okay. Well,
yeah. I mean, I do think that there is a shift in consciousness. So I think you're right about that. I think
my point isn't that there is a shift in consciousness. I'm just optimistic. I want to be optimistic that there will be one.
Okay, so I was giving you too much
You're giving me too much credit.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, cool. I was going to say something about how, like, I think what we've tried to do with China Uncensored for the past 10 years is to try to push that forward, right? Like to push the consciousness of what the CCP is and what they're actually doing to people in China and outside of China. And like, there's a reason why you should care about that, right?
You think we've made the world a better place?
I mean, I think we've tried to.
And then on that Christmas day, Chris's heart grew 3 sizes that day. Call the ambulance!